the right to be named the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Since he was signed back in March, Robert has made it clear through his actions that he's willing to do everything that has been asked of him to earn this role. Throughout this process, he has gained the respect from his teammates, the coaching staff, and the entire organization that is necessary for him to lead our offense and really the entire team. Jeff Saturday here with us.
Hey, hey.
We haven't seen you in a while. It's good to have you back.
Been a while.
Yes.
Slow time down. Nice.
Yes.
We're back in action.
Back in action.
Try to be back
almost.
in action.
We almost have football.
Right.
We will Thursday, though. What do you expect from RG3 this season?
If he's doing what Hugh Jackson is saying he's doing, I expect him to be a starter that can consistently help this football team win. Don't turn the ball over. You know, people underestimate the weapons that this team has. And Hugh Jackson doesn't have to be a traditional offensive coordinator. You got Pep Hamilton there, Al Saunders. Both of those guys have been OCs in the league. You got Hal Hunter. You got Kirby. I mean, you have some strong offensive-minded coaches who understand the game of football and how to put their players in the best position to succeed. Just do your role. Whatever you're supposed to do, and Hugh Jackson, find it. Whether it's you're going to spread them out and try to trick them a little bit, if you're going to go traditional, but just follow that vein. And I think as I look at this football team, you have a decent offensive line. You know, Joe Thomas, Batonio, you got Cameron Irving, who just moved to center when Alex Mack left. So they'll be decent up front. You got Duke Johnson, you got Crowell in the backfield, who are both are serviceable backs. You got Andrew Hawkins, who is a decent. Now you got Corey Coleman stepping up. If Josh Gordon comes back, and you got Barnage at tight end. Think about Tyler Eifert and how Hugh Jackson used him in Cincy. Like, the pieces and parts look good. But this is going to be an offensive-driven football team for a while. Defensively, they got a long way to go. They got to rush the passer. They got to have a defensive backfield. You know, their best players banged up, and Joe Hayden constantly. So they have a lot of work to do, but I'm cautiously optimistic. If RG3 does what he hasn't done, so if he keeps his mouth shut, that's step one, and doesn't turn the football over, he can help this football progress to a team where they challenge and they battle. Cautiously optimistic. Nothing's happening this year. I don't mean to say it that way. But I was happy to hear the way that Hugh Jackson framed RG3 and the excitement and the expectations that he has for RG3.
Well, I think it's predictable what happened.
Oh, for sure.
He had to sell this. It's the only thing you can sell right now. Your best talent is Josh Gordon. You certainly can't sell him because you can't rely on him. You don't know how long he's going to last. We hope and pray that he'll stay off the stuff, whatever stuff he's on, okay, and that he'll be out there ready to ball all 16 games this season. You don't have those kind of character issues with RG3 where you're worried about him being out on the field, not as it pertains to his character. Yes, he needs to be quiet and just be on the business about the business of doing what he's supposed to do. But RG3, let's be fair to him, and I'm not saying you weren't, but a lot of people out there look at him, and sometimes you compare him to the Josh Gordons of the world, and there's no comparison. RG3 is a good dude, doesn't get in any trouble. He's a professional. He's a young man who's a grown man. It's just that sometimes he got a little bit distracted because he got caught up in the brand that was RG3. Hugh Jackson's not that kind of dude. He's not going to allow that because it's going to be about what he wants. But the second Josh Gordon came back, you knew for a fact that RG3 was going to be that guy because of the chemistry that they had when they played together at Baylor, and they're still friends. So you knew that. And in the end, let's be real here. If the Cleveland Browns win 5 games, it's an improvement. If the Cleveland Browns don't wet the bed and get blown out every day, it's an improvement because of the division that they're in. The Steelers are a championship contender. The Bengals can't be ignored. And the Baltimore Ravens with Coach Harbaugh are not going to fall off the wagon 2 years in a row. I can promise you that. So all those things being considered, we don't expect anything from them, Max. We don't expect anything from them, Jeff. So you're playing with house money. And if you're playing with house money, why not go the route of RG3? Even though he hasn't played pretty much in a year and a half, okay, the bottom line is at least you know physically his health isn't an issue because he hasn't been banged up, because he hasn't played. And so you're good.
I say another thing, as you were saying, Cleveland hanging their hat on him right now is important for the franchise. They got, like to your point, they got to sell something. Yeah, this isn't the Denver Broncos who just came off a championship and they don't have a quarterback. They needed to name a guy now that the fan base, that the team, everybody can surround and get behind. Whether you love him or hate him, at least if you're a Brown fan, you're going to hang your hat. It's going to drive people to get in the seats and see what's going to happen. It's going to begin to build expectations for a franchise that has been kicked around and embarrassed for the last few years. So from that point, and think about the Johnny Manziel situation, now you got RG3, to your point, will not have those same issues. Play on the field may not be great, but you're not going to have those things.
Those issues.
At least you're hooking on.
Let's talk about the play on the field for a second.
Sure.
Because, look, RG3 was the second overall pick. And Washington traded every player in the history of football to get him. Right. So I don't care how fast he ran. NFL teams do their due diligence. They looked into his background and his character and his football brain. They saw his arm. Remember, when during the combine, it was like Andrew Luck this and Andrew Luck that. But actually, who had the biggest arm in the combine? RG3. So given all of that, and then given the way he played as a rookie, as a Giants fan, no player in the league scared me more that year. Not rookie in the league, no player in the NFL scared me more. I'm not saying that makes him the best, but it put the fear of God in me as a Giants fan when RG3 was, oh my God, he could do anything he wants.
Right.
The talent is there. Even if he's 80% of what he once was, the talent is there. The question is, does he have his head screwed on straight? And in terms of his ego, in terms of not really buying into his brand, but concentrating on RG3, the football player, can he learn from his first experience and apply that to being the right kind of leader in Cleveland? Given his background, I would say the answer is yes. I think it's more of a likelihood than not. So then you look at what's the offense going to look like? Does he have talented people putting him in a position to win on offense? I think, again, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Does he have weapons? Well, Barnidge really emerged last year in the absence of other viable receivers as an elite tight end. I don't know how else to describe it. You get Gordon back in week 5, and RG3 and Gordon as a deep threat, as a stretch vertical passing threat. That's big. Coleman, another Baylor situation.
Right.
I think it's lined up for RG3 right now, given health, to exceed expectations in his first year in Cleveland.
That's right. And I'll say this. The thing about RG3 coming off his, to your point, he's 5-15 since his rookie year. So obviously we know he tanked it from there. But the distraction, the whole comeback thing, whatever he named it, whatever the return, I don't forget, but whatever it was, right? I'm going to write a book. I'm going to talk about this kind of thing. That was all premature. And I think you begin to kind of put the cart before the horse. And as a player, the minute you take your eye off of the game will surpass you. There are very, very few guys who play this game who can't understand. They got to follow a system and be that guy to be successful. And the minute, agents, whatever it is, book deals, begin to kind of distract your attention to detail of the game, you become less of a player. And he didn't have that margin of error because athletically his rookie year, that's what he used and relied on. Then when that became kind of null and void, everybody kind of game planned for it, it changed.
Before we move on, I wanted to ask you a question based off of what you just said. And this is not about RG3, but just as generically speaking, especially with as many years as you've played in the NFL and the success that you've had. I think it's as wrong as it may be, guys, for guys to get caught up in themselves because the NFL is so brilliant at marketing its brand and selects just a few players to market.
Right.
Combined with the helmets and the shoulder pads, unlike basketball players who just have on tank tops and shorts.
Right.
And the game is closer, to the fans. So you can go to the bench or whatever. Guys trying to market themselves. Are we wrong in pointing out how ill-advised, or dare we say wrong they may be in doing so, considering the fact that you have such a short window of opportunity to produce on the NFL level? And if you find yourself in a position where you have the potential to market yourself, we usually teaching people to exploit it. The NFL, we seem to be saying something different. Explain.
Yeah, I think as you look at that, I played with two of the best ever, right? And Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers, they both do a very good job of balancing that, of understanding the football drives the endorsements, not the other way around. I don't have to self-brand, right? My brand on the field every Sunday will bring that stuff to me, and I'll set that, and I'll set my schedule and allow that to come in instead of the other way around. I think young players don't understand how to manage those kind of outside circumstances. And Peyton and Aaron both did a fantastic. If they're going to film it, film a commercial. It's off season, and it's during a particular time. They're not doing sit downs. They're not doing whatever they are mandated to do by the league. That's what they do. Other than that, they're staying with their team. They're training with their team. They're around their guys. They build the team. It doesn't become an I thing.
You want to block for a guy like that.
Exactly.
Right?
When the guy goes the other way, which I just think was immaturity on his part. I don't think he did it intentionally. It just got flipped upside down. And then when you don't perform, guys are off the bandwagon, right? Because they want an authentic leader, a guy who is about the team, not about you. If the team's successful, we all get paid. Even a chunky guy in the middle, I can still get in a commercial every now and again. You know what I mean? Like, I love that, right? P's going to bring you in on a shoot or something, right? So
are they going to protect him this year? That's the real question. If you're going to get line protection, if he gets line protection, I think he could be very successful.
For sure. I agree.
But the win will bring the marketing dollars for sure. Barnage, good fantasy sleeper there, by the way. You brought him up earlier. So huge. Oh, thank you, Jeff, for being with us. Always good to see you. We know you'll be back with us a lot this season. So Hugh Jackson, of course, has his new players back. Steve Kerr doing the same for his new guy, KD. He says he's no villain. Is he right? That's the debate when we return.